we must know few things about the children. Nelson Mandela had said that, "We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in our society, a life free of violence and fear." India has the largest child population in the world. As per the 2011 Census of India, there are 472 million children below the age of 18, including 225 million girls. Nearly 160 million children are in the age group of 0 to 6 years. Children constitute 39% of our population. Children, do you know that you have some special rights? Right to life and survival. Every child has the right to life and survival. Right to be protected from any form of hardship, abuse or neglect, including physical, psychological, mental and emotional abuse and neglect. Right to have equal chance for harmonious or pleasant development. To have a fair standard of living adequate for physical, mental, spiritual, moral and social growth. Every child has the right to have his or her best interests given primary consideration. This includes the right to protection and to a chance for pleasant sounding development. The right to be treated with dignity and compassion. Right to participation of expression, information, thought, religion. All children deserve equality, despite their difference. They are entitled to all of these rights, no matter what race, color, religion, language, ethnicity, gender or abilities define them. As per United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Children in 1992, children have following rights. The right to an identity. The right to health. The right to education. The right to a family life. The right to be protected from violence. The right to an opinion. The right to be protected from exploitation. The right to an identity. Children are entitled to a name, legally registered with the government, and a nationality, to belong to a country. Further, they must have the right to an identity, in the form of a public record. This ensures national support, as well as access to social services. The right to health. Medical care, nutrition, protection from harmful habits, including drugs, and safe working environments are covered under the right to health. Also, you have access to special care and support for children with special needs, as well as quality health care, including drinking water, nutrition, and a safe environment, respectively. The right to education. Right to free primary education is critical for helping children develop discipline, life skills while finding a safe and healthy environment to nurture a child's physiological development. This includes freedom from violence, abuse, or neglect. The right to a family life. If not by family members, then children have the right to be looked after by caretakers. Children who do not have access to a family life have a right to special care and must be looked after properly by people who respect their ethnic group, religion, culture and language. Children have the right to seek legal counsel under a juvenile justice mechanism, with the fair and speedy resolution of proceedings. The right to be protected from violence. Protection from violence extends even to family members, and children must not suffer ill treatment, or sexual, or physical violence. This includes use of violence as a means of discipline. All forms of sexual exploitation and abuse are unacceptable. The right to an opinion. All children deserve the right to voice their opinions, free of criticism or contempt. In situations where adults are actively deciding upon choices on behalf of children, the latter are entitled to have their opinions taken into consideration. While children's opinion may not be based on facts, it is nonetheless an important source of insight for parents and should be considered. However, this depends on the child's level of maturity and age. Children have the freedom of expression, as long as they are not harming others with their opinions and knowledge. The right to be protected from exploitation. As exploitation is usually achieved through violent means, protection from violence is critical for freeing children from exploitation. This extends to abuse, negligence, and violence by parents or from any person in the society. Even these persons may be friends, relatives, family members, in school, etc. Further, children cannot be made to work in difficult or dangerous conditions. Children can only volunteer to work doing safe chores that do not compromise their health or access to education or play. Sexual exploitation. Another dimension of exploitation is also prohibited as an activity that takes advantage of them. Survivors of neglect, abuse, and exploitation must receive special help to enable recovery and reintegration into society. Children also cannot be punished cruelly, even if it is under the ambit of the justice system. Death or life sentences, as well as sentences with adult prisoners, are not need of act. Sexual abuse of children has become a subject of great community concern. It has been the focus of many legislative and professional initiatives for protection of children from sexual abuse of any kind. It is necessary for the proper development of child that his or her right to privacy and confidentiality be protected, and dignity must be respected by every person by all means. Hence, it is important that law shall operate in such manner that the best interest and well-being of the child are regarded as the paramount importance at every stage to ensure health, physical, emotional, intellectual and social development of the child. Purposes of Act. Fundamental rights. Under Article 15(3) of the Constitution, inter alia, empowers the state to make special provisions for children. The directive principles of state policy, enshrined in the Constitution of India, make it important for the state to ensure that the tender ages of children are not abused. Children need not be forced by economic necessity to enter vocations unsuited to their age or strength. Children are given opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in conditions of freedom, equality, and dignity. Childhood and youth are protected against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment. India is a party to the Convention on the Rights of the Child adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations on 11th of December 1992. Sexual exploitation and abuse of children are heinous crimes which need to be eradicated. To prevent inducement or coercion of a child to engage in any unlawful sexual activity, sexual practices, and child pornography by any method. To effectively address the heinous crimes of sexual abuse and exploitation of children through less ambiguous and more stringent legal provisions, the Ministry of Women and Child introduced the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, POCSO, Act 2012. Well-being of the child as being of paramount importance at every stage to ensure the healthy, physical, emotional, intellectual, and social development of the child. The Act is gender-neutral law, wherein the law takes cognizance of sexual crimes committed against a child under the age of 18 years. Therefore, to protect children from offences of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and pornography, and to provide for establishment of special force, the Government of India enacted the legislation, namely, the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences POCSO. POCSO stands for P. Protection, O. of, C. Children from, S. Sexual, O. Offences. POCSO. This is social legislation for the benefit of a large section of society to bring a social change in the society through law. It provides justice, social, moral, emotional, physical, psychological, to the children. It intends to protect the interests of vulnerable children in times of distress and ensures their indecent or obscene representation of a child. Any visual depiction of sexually explicit conduct involving a child, which include photograph, video, digital, or computer-generated image, indistinguishable from an actual child, and image created, adapted, or modified, but appear to depict a child. This can be done in any program, advertisement, telecast by TV channel, internet, any other electronic form, printed form, whether it is intentional or not, made for personal use or its distribution. It also includes use of in any form involving a child for transmitting or propagating or displaying or distributing in any manner at any time except for the purpose of reporting or for use of evidence in the court shall be punished with imprisonment for the period which may extend to 3 years or fine or both. If any person who stores or possesses pornographic material in any form involving a child for commercial purpose shall be punished on the first conviction with imprisonment, which shall not be less than 3 years and may extend to 5 years, or with fine, or with both, and in event of subsequent conviction with imprisonment, which shall not be less than 5 years and may extend to 7 years, or with fine. Sexual harassment. If any person with sexual intent by revealing purposefully his intention or motive utters any word or makes any sound or makes any gesture or exhibits any object or part of body with intention that these things shall be heard or seen by the child. If anyone makes a child exhibit his body or its parts so as it is seen by any other person, if anybody shows any object to a child, in any form of media, for pornographic purposes. If anyone repeatedly, or constantly, follows, or watches, or contacts a child, either directly, or through electronic, digital, or any other means. If anyone threatens to use, in any form of media, a real, or fabricated depiction, through electronic, film, or digital, or any other mode of any part of the body of the child, or the involvement of the child in a sexual act. If anyone entices, attract, tempt a child, for pornographic purposes, or gives gratification therefor. Law suggests that punishment for such offenders is imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years, or fine. Sexual assault. If any person, with sexual intent, by revealing purposefully his intention, or motive, touches the sexual organs, or private parts of the child's body, or makes the child to touch such parts of any other person, does any other act, with sexual intent, which involves physical contact, without penetration, law suggests that such persons shall be punished with imprisonment for a term, which shall not be less than 3 years, but which may extend to 5 years with fine. Penetrative sexual assault. Law suggests that the offenders of this crime shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 10 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life with fine. Whoever commits penetrative sexual assault on a child below 16 years of age shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 20 years, but which may extend to imprisonment of life, which shall mean imprisonment for the remainder of natural life of that person, and shall also be liable to fine. The fine imposed shall be just and reasonable, and paid to the victim to meet the medical expenses and rehabilitation of such victim. Law regards the above-mentioned penetrative sexual assault and sexual assault as aggravated if they are committed by a police officer, member of armed forces, public servant, committed by staff of a jail, remand home, protection home, observation home, or other place of custody, or care, and protection established by or under any law, management, or staff of a hospital, wherein death of the child is resulted. Gang penetrative assault on a child is committed sexual assault using deadly weapons, fire, heated, or corrosive substance. Committed penetrative sexual assault causing grievous hurt or causing bodily harm and injury to the sexual organs of the child. Committed penetrative sexual assault on a child which physically incapacitates the child, make the child pregnant, or inflicts the child with HIV. Whoever take advantage of a child's mental and physical incapability and commits penetrative sexual assault, commits penetrative sexual assault on a child more than once or repeatedly. Whoever commits such attack on a child below 12 years, whoever, being the relative or guardian or having domestic relationship with the parent of the child who is living in the same or shared household with the child, commits sexual assault. Sexual assault committed by anyone in an institution providing service to the child. Sexual assault committed by anyone who is in a position of trust or authority over the child. Whoever attempts to murder the child after the sexual assault. Whoever commits the sexual assault in the course of communal or sectarian violence, or during any natural calamity or similar situations. Sexual assault done by previously convicted person. Whoever, after the sexual assault, makes the child to strip or parade naked in front of public. Whoever persuades, induces, entices, or coerces a child to get administered, or administer, or direct anyone to administer, help in getting administered any drug, or homemade, or any chemical substance, to a child, with the intent that such child attains early sexual maturity. Punishment for aggravated, penetrative sexual assault. Law suggests that Such persons who attempts penetrative sexual assault shall be punished for with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 20 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life, which shall mean imprisonment for the remainder of natural life of that person, and shall also be liable for fine. For aggravate penetrative sexual assault, Acts provides death penalty also. The fine imposed shall be just and reasonable, and paid to the victim to meet the medical expenses and rehabilitation of such victim. For sexual assault shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 5 years, but which may extend to 7 years, with fine. Abetment or attempt. Whoever instigates, conspire, or intentionally aids, by any act or illegal commission in commission of offense, is said to commit abetment of an offense. Whoever attempts or causes such an offense to be committed shall be punished with imprisonment of any description, provided for the offense, for a term which may extend to 1/2 of the imprisonment for life, or as the case may be, 1/2 of the longest term of imprisonment, provided for that offense, or with fine, or with both. For abetment, same punishment, which is for offense. We are going to examine following matters. Procedure for reporting of cases. Responsibility of media. There are certain punishments for failure to record a case that are given. Procedure for recording of statement of child. Also, the Act provides certain punishment for false complaints, information, medical examination of child, special courts, presumption against offender, link with Juvenile Justice Act. Procedure for reporting of cases. Any person including child who thinks that such crime has been committed or might be committed in near future, or has knowledge that such a crime is likely to be committed, then he shall provide such information to either special juvenile police unit or local police, which will be converted to a report of the crime. The report given by the child to the authority has to be recorded in a simple language which is understandable to a child, and if there is any language barrier, there should be a translator or interpreter to help the child in the whole process. The facility of admitting the child into the shelter home or the nearest hospital is also given when such a child is in a need of care and protection. The local police or the special juvenile police unit has to report such a matter to Child Welfare Committee within the period of 24 hours. No person shall face any liability, civil, criminal, for giving information in good faith. You can also give information to police if such things happen, or you have strong feeling that they may happen with you or your recorded by a woman police officer who is in civil dress, just like you. Law gives a word, take strict care that at no point of time the child shall not come in contact in any way with the accused. No child shall be detained in the police station at the night for any reason. The police officer will make sure that identity of child is protected from public media. Statement will be recorded as spoken by child. Magistrate shall give a copy of the document upon final police report being filed. The statement will be recorded only in the presence of the parents of the child of any other person in whom child has trust or confidence. Wherever necessary assistance of translator or interpreter shall be given to the child. Assistance of special educator will be taken in case child has mental or physical disability. Statement will also be recorded by audio-video electronic means as far as possible. Also, the Act provides certain punishment for false complaints, information. If any person provides false information or makes false complaint against any person solely with the intent to humiliate, extort, or threaten, or defame him, shall be punished with imprisonment up to 6 months, or fine, or both. Whoever, not being a child, makes a false complaint against a child, knowing it to be false, which will lead to victimization of such child, in any offences under this Act will be punished with imprisonment up to 1 year, or fine, or both. Exception: no punishment shall be imposed on any child who provides such false information or makes such complaint. Medical examination of child. It will be conducted upon receiving a complaint by a child or relatives or parents. If victim child is a girl child, medical examination is done only by a woman doctor. It will be conducted only in the presence of the parents, any other person in whom child has trust or confidence. In case parent, other person cannot be present, it will be conducted in the presence of a woman nominated by head of medical institution. Special courts. The Act provides for special courts that conduct the trial in camera and without revealing the identity of the child in a child-friendly manner. Special court will create a child-friendly atmosphere by allowing a family member, guardian, friend, relative to be present in the court. The special court can permit frequent breaks for the child during trial. Child will not be called repeatedly to testify in the court. Aggressive questioning or character assassination, blaming a child is not permitted by the court. Special court shall ensure that identity of the child is protected at all times, including the identity of child's family, school, relatives, neighborhood, or any other information that may disclose the child's identity. Juvenile justice. Any offense committed by a child shall be dealt under the provisions of Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015. Evidence of child shall be recorded within 30 days of the cognizance taken by special court. The trial must be completed by the special court within 1 year from taking cognizance. The cases will be tried by the special cases in camera and in the presence of the parents, any other person in whom the child has trust or confidence. Presumption against offender. The special court shall presume that the accused has committed or abetted or attempted the offense unless contrary is proved. If any offense requires a culpable mental state, the special court shall presume such mental state, and the accused will have to prove that he had no such mental state beyond reasonable doubt. Culpable mental state includes intention, motive, knowledge of a fact, and the belief in or reason to believe a fact. Victim child who has been harassed need not to worry about proving her case. Link with Juvenile Justice Act. Juvenile Justice Act 2015 requires the Child Welfare Committees to take action for rehabilitation of sexually abused children who are reported as children in need of care and protection to the committee by Special Juvenile Police Unit or local police under the POCSO Act. Support persons to child victims to be provided by the Child Welfare Committee. POCSO Act recognizes the right of the child victim to receive the assistance of free legal counsel during trial. Telephone Helpline 1098. Child Helpline is India's first 24-hour and free emergency phone service for children in need for aid and assistance. Anyone, whether you are a concerned adult or a child, for yourself or your friend, you can dial 1098, the toll-free Child Helpline number, to access our services. Child Helpline not only respond to the emergency needs of children, but also link them to services for their long-term care and rehabilitation. Child Helpline have, to date, reached out to over 3 million children across the nation through such calls. National Council of Educational Research and Training (NCERT) has published the information regarding Child Line number 1098, 24/7 helpline for children, and POCSO e-box on the back side of the front cover of all the course books, from class 6th to class 12th. Child can ring here for any complaint. Preventive measures. Children should be made aware about the good touch and the bad touch. If something is wrong, don't keep it a secret from your parents. Teach children to contact people whom they trust if a problem occurs. Tell everything to your parents or other relatives. In case parents force the child to visit any adult if he or she is not comfortable, then child may tell the reason behind it. Have trust in your parents and other relatives. Contact people you trust if a problem occurs. Children need to talk about their problem freely and express their views. For our own safety, I will tell you one rule which you should always keep in mind and behave accordingly. This is the swimsuit rule. This is a simple rule to follow to recognize bad touch. If any parts of the body covered by a swimming outfit or underwear is a private region that should not be touched or seen by anyone except themselves. So know if they are being inappropriately touched and can raise your responses. Dear children, do not allow anyone to these parts, and also inform your parents if you feel uncomfortable by being touched anywhere. Also keep in mind another rule. Safe touch rule. Good touch feels great and is a bonding experience, while bad touch breeds discomfort and stress. But let your child know about the intermediate safe touch, which might feel bad but is actually necessary. For example, examinations by doctors, receiving injections and medical treatments might upset your child, but they need to know that these actions are necessary to safeguard their health. Thank you.